Congratulations, my friend. I'm very impressed. You have come because you are looking to figure out how to write a best man speech. Good for you. That's an intimidating thing. And I'm excited for you because you have every opportunity to make this awesome. You've probably heard other best man speeches and you probably went, wow, I don't know if I could do one that well. Or you heard one and you went, ooh, I never want to do one that poorly. So we're going to get through how we can get to the place of saying that was the best man speech I've ever heard. And I'm excited to teach you how to do this because I've been teaching speaking for a long time. I'm a Hall of Fame speaker myself, and we have some cool tips, tricks, and techniques as to how you can make this the best man, best speech anyone's ever heard. Here we go. So let me start out by saying this. I've never given a best man speech in terms of getting to give this speech as myself. Let me explain. I've had opportunities where people have hired me to show up as a pretend best man. That's a fun thing. Now, I did this at a wedding in France years ago. I was hired by a guy who saw me speak at an event. He was so impressed with what I had done. And he said, I would love for you to come to the south of France. I'm getting married in a castle at a vineyard. It's a beautiful space. I would love for you to show up and be my roommate that no one ever met when I went to college in London. I want you to wear a wig. I want you to just pull off something bizarre. And I want everybody to be completely stunned. I said, are you sure you want this for your wedding? He goes, my wife would love it, or my fiance, my soon-to-be wife. And so my wife and I flew to Paris, France. We went on a train to the south of France, and with my wig and my pretend best man status, he introduced me and I stood up in front of the audience and I started talking about the good old days back when we were getting wasted at every party. And I totally made this show. And then I said, I want to sing a song for you guys. And everybody was looking around like, this has gotten out of hand. And so I said, hit it. And they pressed play on the music and it was Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John. And I do almost a spot on impression of this song. The crowd went bonkers because they were like, how did he go from this almost drunk guy to nailing this impression of Elton John? And that's when the groom stood up and he goes, everybody, we're just putting you on. This is a great entertainer from Las Vegas. Enjoy the show. And then I went into a show and they just went crazy. It was so fun. Here's why I have to tell you that story first. Because to be the best man, you have a great opportunity to create an experience, to do something that nobody's ever done or heard at a wedding. And so you need to know your audience first. Think about the people in that audience. I remember my friend told me before I did this, he said, hey, just so you know, some of them are really religious. Others of them are not. So do whatever you want. I want you to think about your audience and who you're going to be speaking to. If they're really conservative, then be very, very careful. Tread lightly. If they're kind of more on the partier side, then you're going to be able to have a little bit more leeway. But knowing your audience and how much they know the bride and how much they know the groom, how much they know the people that are, in that space, that's how you're going to figure out what best to do as the best man speaker. So first of all, let's talk about structuring your speech. You don't want to do what most guys do. I've seen best man speeches that are a disaster because they just stand up there and like, remember when we did this? Remember when we did that? Oh, I shouldn't have probably shared that. Yeah, don't be that guy. Structure your speech. Have an opening, have a middle, have a closing. I'm going to give you some tools as to how you can do this effectively. I'd recommend that you start with a captivating quote or a joke or a story, something that can really capture their attention and they'll say, oh, he really put some effort into this, I should listen, rather than just zoning out on their phone and not paying attention. As long as you have a path that it looks like you're going, they're going to appreciate as an audience that you've put some time into this. The middle piece of the content is really important because you've set them up with a funny story or an interesting piece, and now you go into the middle content. This is a place where you can tell more of an intimate story or an entertaining story or something that was interesting that happened to both of you. And then you go into the closing piece. Now, I like to start with something funny and interesting, then go into the body of the speech, which would be a couple of stories or accolades, and then you go into the ending, which is more of an uplifting piece. You don't want to end with a jab. You don't want to end with making fun of them or, hey, you should have seen what he did back in high school. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. End on an uplifting note for everybody to feel good about what you just said. I would even consider it being like a toast, wishing them well. Here's to life, love, and happiness. Here's to all of your dreams coming true. That kind of a thing is what people want at a wedding. And so as the best man, you want to end it on a high note. You want to also personalize your speech. I mean, you don't want to get up there and act like you hardly know this person that you're the best man of, but you also don't want to make it just about you. I've seen this happen in both ways, where they stood up and it was almost like a generic speech that they had written through ChatGPT, and it's not good. Versus the best man just talks about himself as the best man. Now, there's a fine line between all of it. Share some personal stories, some experiences you've had together. It's going to be way more interesting to the audience, and they'll be grateful to hear them. I'd specifically highlight the groom's character. Now, you can make fun of it in some ways because maybe he has a quirky trait that's like, yeah, he always wakes up early to go swim out in the ocean before 4 a.m. Everyone will get a kick out of that because that's bizarre, right? But that might be his signature move. So share some of his signature traits. And then at the same time, you can say something to the bride like, I'm really sorry you're never going to get to sleep in ever again, because he's going to go swimming with the sharks in the ocean. The other tip that I don't know that a lot of people consider this as much, they don't talk about the bride. And as the best man, you should have some kind of relationship with the bride already. So talking just about the groom is great, but make sure to mention the bride. Make sure to mention how special she is to the groom, to the family, to everybody, and especially to you, and how you're excited for her to be a part of the family now. It's especially cool when you add in something like, it's finally great to see him find somebody like you because you're both a perfect match. Just something very simple like that allows the groom and the bride to feel like, oh yeah, we are perfect together after all the disasters that possibly came before. Now keep it concise and engaging and use my best method. Yeah, I've just created the best method. I'm excited to present this to you because since you're the best man, this might be a great way for you to remember how you can keep it concise, keep it engaging, keep it on track. So BEST, that's an acronym. B stands for be brief. Yeah, don't speak too long. I mean, I don't know, maybe they said you can do whatever you want, but don't do 10 minutes. Don't even do 7. Maybe do 3 to 5. A killer 3 to 5 minutes is the best man speech you can give. I'd also recommend that you practice what you're going to say. So practice with somebody. You probably don't want to have the best man, or you probably don't want to have the groom hear what you're going to say, but you can practice with some other people, especially other groomsmen or people that know the groom especially. Maybe the parents and the siblings, and just ask them, hey, what do you think of this story? They'll give you some better ideas, and then you want to chop, 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 chop to be brief. That's B for best. Be brief. E stands for entertain and engage. Yeah, choose wisely on how you're going to entertain. Obviously, we've seen movies like Wedding Singer where the guy stands up and goes, plays the guitar, and he's like, no lessons, Dad. Right? You don't want to be that guy. But you can entertain if you're a good entertainer. Maybe you sing them a song, maybe you tell some jokes. But entertaining and engaging the audience in a good way, choose wisely. But that's the E in BEST. S in BEST stands for success. Now, you want to build up the groom and share about some of his successes, his accolades, his achievements in life, as well as how you know he's going to be successful because now he's married to this amazing person. So now you can share some of the other successes you believe will happen to this amazing groom. This is a great piece. Make sure to include success. And then T in BEST stands for tribute. Make sure to close with a great tribute, just like I said earlier, maybe a toast you could call it, but I like the thought of the word tribute because truly that's a way of saying, I know you're going to do great things. You've always been the greatest guy. I'm so proud of you, and here's to each of you having a great union. This type of thing makes everything wonderful. So within the BEST model, T stands for tribute. Make sure you leave them with a great tribute. One more word of caution on humor. If you're going to do that engagement, entertainment piece, be very careful about the humor you use. Remember the audience, Remember the parents. Remember, there might be people that are quite sensitive. Use humor sparingly, but use it wisely. I mean, hey, if you're the funniest person in the world, then go for it. But remember, try to keep it at a rating that the kids that are listening should be listening to. The next thing I want to give you some advice on is to practice, practice, practice. Yeah, practice this speech over and over. Try to get it to under 5 minutes. Try to make it so spot on that your groom is going, man, that's the best man I could have ever chosen. There are a lot of people that he probably could have, but he chose you in particular. So practice, practice, practice. Put the best method into play. Every one of these tricks and tips that I've shared with you, I hope that they've been helpful, and I'm excited for you to have this opportunity to do this once in a lifetime, hopefully, moment with your friend. If you would, I'd love it if you'd put in the comments which of this was the most helpful to you, and if you want to like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Good luck on that best man speech. You're going to kill it.